Great. Okay, first of all, I'd like to apologize on behalf of all these speakers to destroy your Sunday. Okay. All right. Now, before I start my talk, just a simple question. How many in the audience are backbenchers? Raise your hands. Great. Welcome to the gang. Okay. So, in my talk today, I'm not going to give you any philosophy. Okay. No enlightening experiences. किसी को इसके बाद मोक्ष नहीं प्राप्त होगा, तुमने जाके मोमोज ही खाने हैं, है ना? Right. I'm going to tell you a story of a backbencher, okay, on whom everybody had given up. Everybody declared that this backbencher and his group of friends would amount to nothing in their lives. So, one of the common questions I often get asked is, my transition from being an Indian Air Force pilot to being a Air Force captain in bodybuilding, national level bodybuilder, and then being an entrepreneur. So none of these fields are interlinked in any way. Now the answer lies in my life's journey itself. So I belong to a family of sportsmen. My grandfather was a wrestler in pre-independence Lahore, Pakistan. My mom, national award-winning track and field athlete. So sports and fitness came quite naturally to me. But back in the 90s, with all the people, kids from 90s, being a good sportsman or if you're good in other activities wasn't considered a virtue. Okay, and my problem was academics. My Waterloo was maths to an extent that I flunked in my boards in maths. Okay, and so did a lot of my good friends. So we were those famous backbenchers in the school whom everybody warned against. Okay, when there used to be a parent-teacher meeting, they used to tell, okay, stay away from this group because they would amount to nothing in their lives. And they will spoil your child. Okay, तो हिंदी में बेटा दूर रहना इनसे. ठीक है, parents को they used to make a specimen out of us. Anyway, those were fun times. Now, a lot of people knew about only certain aspects of my life, but they didn't know that there was a hobby of mine which have helped me throughout my life, and that was reading books. So when Mr. Mishra was talking about getting into the zone, I was a very avid reader. Okay, and I used to get immersed in my reading for hours together. So there's a difference between academics and studying and reading books. Okay, if you try to pressurize me in doing something like studying certain subjects, I can't do it. Even now I can't do it. But I love reading books. And it was this hobby of mine, that is reading books, along with my background in sports, which helped me in cracking one of the toughest exams, that of the prestigious National Defense Academy. Of course, to the surprise of many. But when I went to NDA, believe me, my life changed completely. What lessons we learned back then in NDA is what, it made me what I am today. It changed my perspective towards life. Now, after NDA, I went to the Air Force Academy. I was an Air Force cadet, and we undergo a flying training there. And then we get trifurcated into different streams. So it's fighters, helicopters, and transports, the big jets. I got transports, the big jets, and then my flying continued in Bangalore, Yelahanka. And I remember my first posting was in the beautiful city of Baroda. Okay, but because I was a sportsman, I was working out quite hard every day. And I remember I was working out in one of the gyms outside one day. Certain trainers approached me that, so why don't you compete in bodybuilding? I have no idea of bodybuilding. I've never done that. They said, look, you have a good base. So in next 8 to 10 months, we have the Mr. Baroda competition coming in. And we'll help you in preparing. You get ready. Now, it was very difficult because, the flying, my squadron was having very hectic flying schedule. So I was flying day and night, and also balancing my competitive bodybuilding now. But I happened to win a gold medal in the very first competition I competed in. And when I did that, I became Mr. Baroda. My squadron took notice, the command took notice, and the Air Force team took notice because I was the only officer in all the 3 services competing in bodybuilding and winning. So they called me for the Air Force team. An Air Force team, it was a prestige to be a part of the team because they were legendary athletes there. And when I was competing, for the next 3 to 4 years, I was competing in different state level championship, nationals, inter-services. But after around 4 years in the competition, I suffered a major injury. Injuries are a part of sports. Because of that, of course, I had to take a step back from my sports. And that was the time that I got a choice of taking a voluntary retirement out of the Defense Forces, which I did. And my second innings started. Now this was, as an entrepreneur, again something totally alien to any person in my family. I was the first person who went into NDA. There was nobody to ask for. The first person in sports and bodybuilding, the first person to become an entrepreneur. And over the years, I have been opening multiple companies and brands, my chain of gyms, my programs running in over 42 countries now, and I've been featured on various magazine cover pages, also awarded the Business World 40 Under 40 award last year. So this was all being a backbencher who would amount to nothing, right? Now there are a lot of lessons I learned throughout my journey, okay? But I'm not going to give you any of those because you keep on listening to all those lessons. What I'm going to tell you are just 3 points which you should unlearn immediately, which you have been told very wrong by a lot of different people. So the very first point is the famous dialogue from Mr. Shah Rukh Khan when he said in that movie कि जब तुम किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने में जुट जाती है. Right? How many of you agree to this? Great. So I had a friend of mine, वो कतरीना कैफ को बड़ी शिद्दत से चाहता था. Right? None of those things happened, and he can't blame Vicky Kaushal now. Okay? Had this thought being true, then everybody here would be just dreaming and they'll achieve everything because they want something. No, it doesn't work like this. There's another quote which you need to learn now, which is the actual reality. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you deserve. Okay, so the quote which Mr. Shah Rukh Khan said is completed in a way कि जब तुम किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहो और उतनी ही शिद्दत से उसे पाने के लिए दिन रात मेहनत करो, तब पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने में जुट जाएगी. Now, when I was giving another TED talk, I covered the same point. So one of the students asked me later, so then why is there's a difference between if there are two people, both are working very hard, why is one person able to achieve great heights in his life and other person isn't? Right? I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a daily wage laborer. He is working physically very hard. Okay, he goes every day to his work, works for 8 to 10 hours, and he earns his daily wage and he comes back home. On the other hand, there is another person who's working equally hard, maybe more mentally, but he is able to achieve, he or she is able to achieve great heights in whatever career they choose. Why is that? And the difference here lies in your power or the magic of thinking big. The second person has a bigger goal in his life, so every day when he goes to work, his ultimate aim is to reach that goal. His every effort every day is to reach that goal. So when, again coming back to Shah Rukh Khan, when he said कि जब तुम किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहो तो मेक श्योर जिस चीज को चाहो दैट गोल हैज टू बी बिग, उसको पाने के लिए मेहनत करो. नाउ यू विल बी एबल टू अचीव बिगर गोल्स इन योर लाइफ. ऑलराइट, नाउ देयर इज अनदर पॉइंट व्हिच यू नीड टू अगेन अनलर्न, एंड वी हैव बीन टोल्ड, बचपन से सुन रहे हैं, राइट, हमारे पेरेंट्स, बेटा अभी पढ़ाई कर लो, आगे जाके सब आसान हो जाएगा. ग्रेट, लुक आई गॉट द रिएक्शन. सो किसके साथ हुआ वैसे ऐसा? Any fortunate? आसान हो गई लाइफ? अच्छा, good. All right. This actually never happens, you know, and this you need to unlearn because let me give you a harsh truth. There's a very famous quote: "Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger." Now, connecting this again to the first thought, the bigger your goal, the more challenges you're going to face, the more obstacles you're going to face. And when you overcome them, you become even stronger. Get it? Great. Now comes the third and the last point I'll cover. Okay, now when we were backbenchers and our front bencher friends used to get good marks, so हमारे excuses क्या होते थे? We often used to say ये बहुत talented है, right? Right? Okay. Let me tell you one thing. Talent is the most overrated virtue in the world. Go to internet right now, you will find thousands of examples of wasted talent. Talent does not guarantee success. Remember this line. That's why in real life, the moment you step out of your school and college and face the real life, you will find A-grade students working for C-grade students. You will find a lot of people who were scoring great marks in their schools and colleges, and they also rise to good position in big companies or whatever, you know, work they try to do. But in a lot of cases, those companies are owned by backbenchers. Okay? So Before I end my talk, I like to tell all the backbenchers who have been disheartened, who were underconfident, they amount to nothing, they're from middle class families, a lot of things we have been told, right? Let me tell you something very strongly. In every family, there's a person who is called a black wolf. He is the person who does what nobody in his family has ever done. He is the one who is there to break the generational curse of his family. He does a lot and expects nothing in return. Are you the black wolf of your family? If you are not, then be one. Thank you.